Welcome back, everybody, to the Little Less Fear podcast Halloween special series on real life ghost stories. Today, I have with me Selket, who is a clairvoyant medium and tarot card reader. And she has also been on my show months ago. Incredible tarot card reader. Welcome back to my show. Selket.
Thanks for having me back, Lino.
Thank you for being here. And just to tell our audience the reason the reason for having these series of like real life ghost stories is to let the non-believers hear true life stories. I still have come across some non-believers, and I really don't know why, whether it's a resistance or just it's not in them to believe these things. And I'm not trying to make anyone believe, but I'm trying to help people open up their eyes that there's other types of existence other than just what we see and what our eyes perceive in this dimension. Yeah. And we can learn a lot from the stuff that we don't see every day. We can learn a lot from the spiritual world, from the ghostly experiences, from the clairvoyance, from the intuitions that we have. And it's actually really important to tune into that part of our ancient wisdom, as I see it. So Thank you so much for volunteering and being open to tell your story, your personal stories. And start wherever you'd like to start. We are ready.
Cool. So like you said, I'm a medium, but it's not the strongest gift of mine. I still have a lot of healing to do with that. So like my experiences, I don't actually see ghosts, but I get a lot of contact with them. One of my past lives, I was able to actually see them, and it terrified me. And I still have a lot of anxiety issues around seeing, sorry, it's my cat, around seeing like a physical, like a vision of them. So that part of my gift is blocked, but I do get physical contact. I do have spirits move things around in my apartment. I've had a lot of videos of the orbs around me, or I'll just be recording a video and I'll see an orb, in front of me.
For people that don't know what an orb is, how can you describe an orb?
An orb will be like a little like speck of light you see that is moving like intentionally, like you probably see dust right now, but like if you see like dust, it's different. Like an orb, you'll actually see it like, moving. It looks like purposely, like its movements look like it's on purpose. Sometimes there'll be different colors. My daughter's father passed away, and when he passed away, I would always find and catch green heart-shaped orbs in my videos, and I have some of them still. I have one of the videos still. He also would move things a lot in my apartment. The first thing he would do, he would move, I had like this jewelry stand, like on my dresser, and nothing was moving. There was a lot of different types of jewelry on there, but one earring was just going back and forth and swaying. Wow. And I kept seeing something out the corner of my eyes, and I remember looking, I'm like, oh shit, that's moving. Like, and I knew it was him. I have a familiar feeling when a spirit is around me that I've had a connection to in the physical realm. And when I saw it, I just spoke out loud. I'm like, oh, hi, Ryan, which is my daughter's father's name. And the earring started moving faster, like to let me know, like,
yep, that's me.
Yeah, it's me. He's moved pictures off my walls. Like I've had actual paintings on my walls that have been there for like 5-10 plus years, never moved. And I'll come home and they'll be across the other side of the room on the floor.
What? Are you ever scared when these things happen, or are you just kind of aware? Because you're aware of these things, it doesn't scare you?
The first time, my first encounter was terrifying. After that, it kind of became more like curiosity. Like it was more like something that was just piquing an interest. And then if it's a spirit like I'm familiar with, it's not scary. It's more comforting. And also kind of funny, because the things that I'll notice they'll do, like to get my attention, will be just so like, hey, I know it's you, like very I know you don't want me to...
of that, of when they were alive type thing.
Yeah, because he and I, when he was alive, we would talk about at his apartment and his place of business. He had a portal inside of his place of business, and we kept a camera running in there, you know, in the middle of the night. And I believe it was like Thursday nights at around like 12 to 3 a.m. You would see just orbs shooting through, like whatever portal was there. And it happened all the time. Like we kept catching it. In his apartment, I have a feeling like his apartment might have been built on top of somewhere like people may have died, because there was a spirit in there, and I believe it was a kid spirit that would just play tricks on him, like it would move his things and hide his keys or hide his stuff. And I would not believe him at first. I'm like, man, you're just joking, you're tripping, you know.
Yeah.
But one time I was making dinner there, and you know, I was like cutting up some stuff. I put the knife down, and it just slid across the counter in front of me. And I'm like, okay, you're right. There's something
Oh
here.
man. Oh geez.
Yeah. And that spirit didn't like me. I think the spirit probably had some kind of jealousy towards me being there. So that spirit would try to scare me. But it felt like a kid kind of playing tricks on you. It didn't feel like too threatening. Um, I think the last time I was like, okay, I'm done. I was like taking a bath at his place, and I had the speaker on the toilet that was right next to the tub, listening to my music, trying to relax. And the spirit just like knocked the speaker off the toilet, and it hit the wall really violently, and it freaked me out. So I just jumped out. I'm like, I gotta go home. This thing don't like me here.
Oh yeah, I'd probably go home too after that. That's for sure. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But I always have little things like that happening to me. Probably the most terrifying story, I guess I can tell, oops, for the sake of Halloween, is my first encounter. I used to play soccer in high school, and after our practices, I would go over to one of my friends' houses till my mom got off of work. And her house was built on top of a graveyard.
What? How
So
did you even know that? How did you even know
she
her house?
knew. She knew. Her whole family knew. And they didn't have a problem with it when they bought the house. You know, they were fine with it.
You mean like an old cemetery or like somebody's graveyard from an old house, how they used to have like their own graveyards back there? Like, is that what you mean? Or you mean like it over a
It was
cemetery?
multiple people. So I was under the impression that it was like
A
maybe
mini
like
cemetery?
mini cemetery or something.
It's
But
like the movie Poltergeist.
yeah, and I was just like tripping because everyone was just like, thought it was funny, or they just were like cool with it. I'm like, this must be a joke because they're not scared. Like, what's going on? So they kept telling me about their experiences, how there was like two small kid ghosts that they grew up with, that they became familiar with, that they would play tricks on them all the time. They would show me images of, you know, them taking pictures in their backyard, and it would just be filled with orbs, like 5, 10 orbs, you know, just in their backyard, in their house, all the time. Their mother was really religious, but like they weren't scared. They just felt like I guess because they grew up around it, it was normal. But then they asked me, it's like, you wanna see? You wanna see one of the ghosts? Because they thought, you know, it'd be funny to let me see this. I'm like, okay, sure.
Wait, how
So,
old were you?
huh?
How old were you?
I was I was on soccer, so like 11th grade, so it's like 17
Okay.
maybe, right? Um, yeah, so they're like the children ghosts, they stay in the back of the house where their rooms are, and they would tell me like they play around, like they'll jump on their beds at night if they want to play and shit. So they're sorry, can I cuss? I'm sorry. Am
Yeah.
I okay?
Yeah,
I'm
you're
just
fine.
cussing. Yeah. So they were like, set it all up, like, okay, just walk down the hallway. I'm like, what do you mean walk down the hallway? Like, just walk down the hallway and they'll come out. And I would never go to the back of their house. I had been there multiple times and never went to the back part. And I'm like, okay. And they're all back there like giggling. And I'm just like, this isn't real. This isn't real. And I was like walking down the hallway. And dude, I swear it was like a movie almost. It was so terrifying. It was almost as if the hallway like elongated and something grabbed me by my shoulders and lifted me up off the ground and pulled me to the front of their bedroom door and blew
Whoa.
cold ass air into my face. Like I could hear,
Wow.
and then it dropped me. I ran out there screaming. I never went back to their house. It was the most terrifying experience. And they were just laughing. They were like all on the floor laughing. They just thought it was so hilarious. I'm just like, what the hell was that?
Why were, I guess they were laughing because it's happened to them and they're just used to it or something. I don't know.
It was like no fear with that family. No fear. Like, yeah, I don't remember going back to their house after that. Like they were all just really into that. Like they would go to the Queen Mary every year. Like they just had no fear at all with ghosts. So yeah, that was my most probably intense encounter.
I'll say.
Yeah. But yeah, I've had some other experiences, you know, with like I had a friend that passed away. He actually committed suicide. And my daughter's father's youngest sister, she's actually a psychic. And she would randomly at times call us and just tell us random things like she had no way of knowing, and like literally describe moments that we were having that no one would know how to even tell, like a moment that happened probably 5 minutes before. And it would trip us out. And, you know, we realized that she was very gifted. And around the time when my friend passed away, you know, the dangers of it when you're young and coming into your gifts, a lot of times you don't understand that there's so many different types of spirits that you're dealing with. So if you're not like trained in it, there are actual like spirits that try to trick you. And I feel like, you know, we all have like these angels or demons or whatever, like entities that are constantly with us, that are watching us, that are gathering information on us, you know. So if you are, you know, new to, I guess, this gift of yours, you won't realize sometimes the energy that you're dealing with is not a good energy. You know, it could be trying to get you to do stuff. And I guess that was like probably the darkest experiences. When my friend had passed away, she was tapping into some entity that was pretending to be him. So it was telling me intimate details about only things that he and I would know, like intimate conversations. And I remember, you know, probably like we had talked for several nights because I was like going through my grieving. And I remember
you and the entity talked for several nights?
Me and my daughter's father's sister.
Oh, okay.
And you know, like she would tell me like messages, you know, that he was trying to say to me or whatever. And then after a while, I think like on the second night, I was just like kind of feeling weird about it. I'm like, this is starting to feel dark for some reason. Like, what's happening? And I started feeling like something was watching me. And then when I would talk to her, like something just told me, I guess my own, you know, intuition was telling me it wasn't him. It was a darker entity. And I remember after getting off the phone with her, it felt like something was trying to jump into my body. Like I've had like 2 entities literally try to jump inside of me, which is the most bizarre feeling. So at this point, I have no choice but to believe because of all these experiences. You know, I know there's a lot of people who are skeptical. And I've told these stories to people who are skeptical, and they still are just like, yeah, whatever, you're delusional, you're making it up. But that experience and the first experience like really kind of terrified me, you know, and kind of made me resistant to my gift. You know, I'm now kind of getting into a energy where I'm more confident in my skills. So I'm like more open to learning about it, and I'm learning more ways that I'm able to actually protect myself. So it's not as scary. But yeah, I remember after talking to her, I'm like, okay, let me not mess with this. Cause like,
what did it feel like when the entity was like trying to get at you or get in you or whatever? How does that feel?
I was sitting on the couch and it just almost felt like something was trying to drop into me. Like this just mass was just trying to drop into me, and it felt heavy and it felt dark, you know? And I felt
Kind of
my
like,
body.
were you being pinned down type thing?
Almost. Yeah. It felt like for a second, it felt like I was powerless a little bit, but my body was rejecting it. Like my body would not let it, you know, I don't know what was going on. You know, maybe I have some spiritual protection I'm unaware of, but it wasn't letting it happen. And I remember just feeling kind of nauseous afterwards.
Wow.
Any other time I had contact though, that was the only time where it felt like pressure, or something dark on me. The other times though, when it's like ghosts that are not threatening, it feels like pinpricks. And if I speak out, I'm like, oh, hey, like I'll talk to my daughter's father because he'll do that. I'll be like, oh, hey, Ryan, how are you? I know you're here. It'll just start happening more often, like just needles on
Kind of
your
like when your
body.
hand is going numb, like falling asleep.
It's different. It's not asleep. It's different. It literally feels like you're being pricked. Like the falling asleep feels like tingling almost, like a tingling sensation all over area.
Does it feel like, that like crystal ball where like if you touch it, it has electricity and you can kind of feel like the pricks?
Do you feel stuff on that? I've never felt anything with
Really?
those.
I think I remember feeling just a little bit of static. No, not like that.
I really honestly don't know any other way to describe it, but like someone taking a little needle and just because it's just in one spot. It's
And
not
that's
like
usually when it's like a welcoming entity type thing or
I've only
non-threatening.
had it done to me by entities that I was familiar with, like my daughter's father. He's the only one I experienced that with. So I don't know if like other stuff feels that way. The other entity, it felt dark. It felt heavy. And it felt like almost like suffocating,
Wow.
like so. And my energy, if you're a naturally intuitive person or empathic person, just in your regular life, there's some people you come around and your body repels it.
For sure. Yeah.
So
Seriously.
yeah, so I feel like that something like that was happening. So when the entity didn't have any ill will or wanted to cause me harm, my body wasn't becoming defensive. It was like, oh hey, like it was like a hug almost, but you just can't really physically touch. So
What's your most
yeah.
recent experience?
Um, my most recent experience probably was about like maybe 4 months ago, maybe 4 months. But it was my daughter's father again. He comes back around once in a while. And I was working and I just kept seeing something kind of moving in the corner of my eye. And I looked up and I had like a gallon of water on my table. And it wasn't completely empty. It was like a little bit left and it was like shaking, like kind of slowly. And I was like, oh, hi, Ryan. And then it started shaking more. I caught it on camera too, and I sent it to his sister. Anytime I talk to his spirit and I catch it on camera, I send it to his sister or his family.
Oh,
But
that's really sweet of you.
yeah, but that was the last time I had some kind of contact.
What
So
about when you're doing readings and stuff? Do you ever get like contacts from those, from what, let's say someone asked you a specific question. Do you ever get a contact from that other side based on that question that that has been asked?
I do not do readings on like passed over loved ones. I don't do
Hmm.
like readings on death, not yet. But I never really get any other information other than what spirit wants me to see. I feel like unless I'm doing readings like back to back, I don't really get any additional information other than the information I'm getting at the moment with the person who I'm working with.
And when you say whatever spirit wants you to see, like, what do you mean by spirit?
Spirit, when I say, everyone has their own name. It can be God, it can be your guardian angels, it can be your higher self. I don't have a specific religion I practice. I believe in God, but I also believe in, you getting downloads and messages from different sources, all coming from the one source. So in how I describe the word is like, spirit is that source. So it can be God, it can be your guardian angels, it can be your passed over loved ones, it can just be your higher self. So
Just
yeah.
like this different type of energy that you feel that is.
Mhm.
And when you're doing readings and spirits coming to you to talk to you or give you or transfer information, do you actually hear like a voice, or do you just feel the intuition of what they want to say or what they're saying? How does that work for you?
I'm clairaudient, so I hear like sentences, like it'll be a fluid sentence without me putting any thought into it. But the way I hear it, some people they hear a different voice. I hear my own voice, and I know spirit does that for me because a good portion of my life I ignored my own inner voice, and it's a part of helping me learn how to trust my inner guidance. So they specifically have it in my own voice, but I know it's not like the physical me versus a higher self of me, because the sentence will just flow like effortlessly. So I know it's coming from a higher power.
You mean you'll
Um,
speak out, verbalize a sentence and it'll just flow out, or you mean you'll just think out a sentence and it flows out?
Sometimes both. Sometimes I do randomly just say random things, and I'm like, why did I say that? Like it'll just come out of my mouth. And sometimes I'm actually tapping into the person next to me. I'll say something that they're thinking, and not know why that came out of my mouth. And I also have clarisson. I hate saying this word because I always pronounce it wrong, but it's when you are able to communicate with spirits or past loved ones through smell. So my father, when he passed away, he had a very like distinct cologne, and I would just smell it in the most random places when there would be like no one else around. Um, and for whatever reason, I associated my daughter's father with like Lysol. I don't know. He's always using Lysol for some reason. So like every time I smell it, I think of him. And I'll be walking somewhere where there's like nothing around me, no businesses, nothing. I'll just smell Lysol. And I'm just like, oh, hey, what's up? I know you're here.
That
But
I hear
yeah.
like some people sometimes smell flowers and stuff like that. So yeah, that makes
Mhm.
sense. That makes sense. I've heard that. That's interesting for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, but those are the only two ways I really like communicate. I'm sure I have like dreams, but it's so hard for me to recall them. And they probably usually come out in like downloads later while I'm awake, you know? So
You mean like you remember a dream while you're awake, or?
like I'll probably do some healing in my dreams and get messages in my dreams, but I rarely remember them for some reason. I don't know why, but I feel like stuff comes through. I'll randomly remember, oh, that happened in a dream, like a small part of it, you know, and it'll be a part of a message. So yeah.
So Selket, what kind of advice can you give people that have had these experiences but deny it? You know, like, no, that didn't happen. Like, should they stay in denial about it, or should they kind of think more about it and try to figure out what it means, or does it just really depend on the person?
I think it depends on the person, because I honestly, like some people, I feel like their minds and their nervous systems probably couldn't handle it if they were to experience that, you know. Like I said, I have extreme like anxiety. So I used to, when I could feel a spirit, I used to have a pretty bad panic attack
Like, it
and
increased
just,
your heart rate and stuff, and you
yeah,
got sweaty and.
yeah, be shaking. And I'm just like, you know, I understand why some people want to deny it. It's kind of scary, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but if you feel called to it, I feel like you should explore it. You know, it's probably like a gift that you were given to, you know, help other people, you know.
Totally.
Um, you know, any gifts that we have a choice to accept them or deny them. So
Right.
in any person, you know, it's kind of based on where they feel that they're at on their journey with their healing, and if that's something they want to take on, because I'm sure there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that kind of gift, you know, like you might have to start helping people cross over. I don't know if you want to do that, you
Right.
know,
Right. Oh my
like,
goodness.
so, yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
So I don't know. I haven't, I'm still kind of taking baby steps towards it myself. So I want to regulate my whole nervous systems before I dive in. You know, I don't want to terrify or terrorize my own life trying to do something before I'm ready for it. So
Right. Well, that's a good idea. And these are the incredible words, wise words of Selket. Selket, how can we find you on social media?
You can find me through at Selket. It's SEL period QET. And you can also find me through my YouTube, which is Empath Oasis, where I do free tarot readings.
That's awesome. And I've had one, ladies and gentlemen, myself, and she's incredible. So please give her a shot. She's amazing. Thank you so much for being on my show, A Little Less Fear podcast, talking about real life ghost stories. This has been amazing. Definitely opening up my eyes, and I'm keeping my heart and spirit open to these experiences. And hopefully I'll have good ones, and maybe I'll be able to share one too at the end of the show. So thank you so much, Selket. I appreciate you. Thanks for sharing. And we will talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.